Straight talk from Israel. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, this is Orly Davis, and this is from Jerusalem with Love. Today is September 29, 2021, and we are here in Israel, the Holy Land, the holy only land that God Almighty gave to the world, and Israel is its custodian, and Jerusalem, it is united capital by the testimony of the Bible, the book of all books, the Old Testament that gave us, the Jewish people, the courage and the faith to do God's work. It has been long since I spoke to you. The holidays were a part of it, but not all. Coming back from America gave me a new perspective and reminded me the thing I used to do in the state. I used to be working to facilitate the interaction of many leaders to come to speak in various occasions and let people know how can we align ourselves with history and the challenges that the leaders of this free world are putting us in front of us. Every day was a new task, a new adventure to achieve the next level, keeping peace upon my friends from other religions, by keeping up the faith. And everybody knows that faith is our courage, it is our hope, it is an energy that keeps us going, and that tomorrow will be a better day. That's our faith. We trust in God. That's why we keep on walking. Coming back, I was watching the UN General Assembly. That this year was a little more interesting than in many ways. Watching the U.S. President in his speech of hope and the others member of representative of their country talking from far, and other took the stage. We never expected much from our new Prime Minister Bennett, since he is a novice. His speech was the end of the summit, and sure enough, he did not disappoint us. He delivered to his own base and leaving us, leaving the most important issue out of the table, the Palestinian story. We saw what last week happened, and we are going to talk about it and think together how we going to go on and what's next. So it's going to be interesting because I'm back and I'm excited. I'm so happy you're here, and I love you too, and I'm happy to be here. So stay put. We'll be back after this.
The return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel was prophesied in the Bible thousands of years ago and is coming true today. Shalom. Join me, Josh Wander, on Israel Unplugged. Listen in as we delve into the spiritual and physical aspects of the Jewish return to Zion. We'll discuss the biblically mandated, historic, and of course practical understandings of this incredible transition from exile to redemption. That's Israel Unplugged, every Monday on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
And we are back. It's Orly Davis, and this is from Jerusalem with Love. You can find us, on the web, of course, and you can click in if you want to chat in the chat room, or if you want to call in. That will be great to say hi, Happy New Year for the Jewish people and everyone. It's really amazing the feeling of a new year, because the holiday just left us yesterday. Yesterday was Simchat Torah, the happiness of the Torah is the time when they finish the 5 books of Moses, and next Sabbath we're going to start with the first chapter when God created the universe, and it's putting you in awe every time again. If you have a good, synagogue or a good place where you can listen to it, the way that they talk about it or they say it, it's amazing. And all Torahs around it, what's surrounded, this incredible holiday is amazing, because I tell you, Never before, like, for so many years that I'm back here, I didn't hear such an emotional, happy holidays to all on, on the news. Many people were out in festivities. There was a festive mood. Maybe it's the corona that give us, the sense that life is so limited. You never take anything for granted, and every day is a day to celebrate life and make sure that you do it in the right way, and you remember to say hi and I love you to all your loved one, because you never know. This coronavirus is driving us all crazy, and it's amazing that we are still pretending that it's not, a colossal problem for the world. I've been in America, and they're all going, in the department store, you got, people with masks in the restaurant. Some of them don't have any. So it's freedom. In Israel, they're a little more conscious about it because it's a small country, and we have many people who nude you. They interfere if you don't, or they don't let you in. There was, a story about somebody in California that went to a restaurant and he was with a mask, and they took him out because they didn't want to, subject others to this environment of the mask, like the phobia of this corona. And the corona is something that we need to live with, that we have to understand. But we have to create a conscious mind to every individual, because as a total, unity, as the federal or the courts or the medical institution try to subscribe. People don't do that because, you tell them. They need to understand. So change your approach, because these people that don't vaccinate themselves, and they have the right now, because there are people that say that after a while can create cancer. You never know. But we need to really be sensitive and try to talk to them in a different way. So when we start talking to them, let's say hello to all our friends in the United States of America, in the United Kingdom, in Israel, in Australia, in Germany, in Malaysia. It's so good to have you. And Germany, congratulations, you're going to have a new chancellor. God bless you. I know we have to say thank you to Angela Merkel. She was exemplary for all the world, and she was a woman that took a stand and got some beating up. Trust me, we saw her in those moments where the men were trying to squeeze her, but she held tall, and she showed us when a country changed her way, how magnificent she can be. And she tried to, make a very, very equilibrium between the Russian pressure and the American pressure with the European economy and, and the gas thing. It's a lot of things that she managed, and they have to fill a big shoes. Those shoes, God bless you all. Mr. Schultz, God bless you, and good luck. And I'm sure you're going to be a good one. And Angela Merkel will be always remembered as one smiley face and friendly to the world, and very, very loved one by everybody. I appreciate her, and I send her all our best. And from Israel and from Jerusalem with love, we want to thank her for all the service that she did for mankind, because she doesn't not just take care of Germany, she took care of other people, and Israel was touched by her in so many ways. So thank you, Angela Merkel. God bless you. Now, Australia, my goodness gracious, what an amazing show you gave France with the change in the plan. Submarine is not something that you have to play with. This is a very important strategic tool that men that are deciding to do purchase for a country needs to see the risk and everything. And this Macron, that is a good guy, but he got so upset. It was like he got out of his way because he couldn't understand how they blew in his face $90 billion a deal. Well, when you have a 2016 deal and you have a pandemic and you have so many things that are happening, the pressure, and you know the situation in that region, you can't take anything for granted. And Australia did what Australia needed to do. She changed the plan because instead of a regular customary submarine that she ordered first from France, she took a nuclear submarine, which is much more effective and doesn't depend on so many power system that the other conventional need, and it's much faster. And it's equipped differently for a war situation if it needed. And if you spend $90 billion, you need to get the best. So it's a good thing that Australia did that. It's not good that, in our public information between the leaders, there is no such a dialogue. And, I mentioned the General Assembly that started a week and everybody talked, and it was amazing. It was amazing, but they need to communicate between themselves. Of course they meet, of course they talk, but the important thing is, there are issues on the table on a global scale. And if we can hear, the president talking, he started, U.S. president started the assembly. So it was in the beginning, he gave us the nudge, let's go on. But all the rest, they need to come to the plate, and tipping on the information and responding to each other. The fact that, the Prime Minister of Israel did not mention the Palestinian cause was really a surprise to us. We know why he didn't do it as far as he's concerned. He couldn't say one thing or another because he would come back to a broken government and we would go to a new election, because no matter where he stands, he cannot have a stand because his coalition is made by different kind of stream. So the Palestinian really got offended, even though he mentioned the Lebanese, he mentioned the Yemen situation, the Syrian situation. He talks about the region. Now, he talked about Hamas too, but he didn't deliver. You see, when you are a leader of a country, you need to send home the right message by using what you say and teaching a part of what we have to go through, or what America goes through, what Israel goes through, whatever, but you have to give us some information. And there were other countries that were exemplary, but I really wish that they all speak English or France, okay? If a diplomat needs to come to the General Assembly, at least those two languages needs to be very much spoken by all of them. The English language will help communicate. And I know that China come and she speaks in Chinese, all the rest. There is 1 billion Chinese, but for some reason, we never teach Chinese. I try Chinese. It's really hard, really. And Russian, it's really hard, but you cannot. So the idea is that we need to find a language when we can communicate on a global scale. You cannot talk to the world in your language and expect the world to translate it, right? Yeah, you get a good translator. But the message is not delivered by you. It's delivered by a translator. It's like a robot or a human robot, but it's something very mechanic. It doesn't deliver home. And this United Nations that has a scope to unite the world or do the right thing needs to come together. And I know that the chairman is doing a really hard work trying to talk about climate change, which is pressing in some efforts. But Is it the problem of the world today? The problem of the world today is coronavirus. It's the fact that only 5% of Africans, have vaccine. It's important you guys to stay on put when General Assembly come together, but we'll keep on talking on the other side. It's really good to have you here, so stay put. We'll be back after this.
Hi, I'm Steve Miller.
And I'm Matt Zucker.
Join us for Lighten Up, where we take a look at the week's current events in Israel and from around the Jewish world through a humorous lens.
If you've been paying attention during these crazy times, you know that it's a challenge to parody life anymore. But join Steve and I as we give it the old college try. Not only is being happy an obligation, but life is just too short to take it all so seriously.
So join me, Steve Miller.
And me, Matt Zucker.
For Lighten Up every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Israel, only on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
And we are back. It's Orly Benny Davis, and this is from Jerusalem with love, guys. Jerusalem is festive after so many people came, and 3 times we go we're supposed to go ascend to Jerusalem in the year to celebrate. And this season is the one that when we are having all our goods, after the farmer collect all their farm product, so they came and give grace to God. It's amazing, and it's amazing too that this time of the year also was the celebration of the new temple of King Solomon. And that's why he wrote, the book of Ecclesiastes, when he mentioned, that's where we read in this holiday. And he mentions something that it was King Solomon was the smartest, they say. And he started the book with a very, very incredible sentence. Futile of all futility, say the teacher. Futility of futility. Everything is futile. What does a man gain from all his labor at which he toils under the sun? Generation come and generation go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun sets. It hurry back to where it rises. The wind blows southward and it turns northward, round and round it swirl, ever returning on its course. All the river flow to the sea, yet the sea is never full. To the place from which the streams come, there again they flow. All things are wearisome, more than one can describe. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear content with hearing. What has been will be again, and what has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there a case where one can say, look, this is new? It has already existed in the ages before us. There is no remembrance of those who came before, that those yet to come will not remember us, by those who follow after. This is King Solomon. And it starts with all futiles, everything, you take it easy. We need to take it easy because there is nothing new under the sun. You can predict what everything will come, and you can predict how everything will be evolved. And King Solomon continues in this book, and you have to read this book because it's full of incredible wisdom about life. And he talks about how many women he had. He had like 1,000 wives. And he said, I never saw one that is something, like one is the same. People have to understand that man's spirit needs to be with substance. And substance is the one that fill the soul, that give you, they enrich you and make you walk and talk and do the things. So let's try to take this. Let's try to take this and think about what we want to gain from this wisdom of nothing is new, and look at the General Assembly, right? General Assembly is supposed to be the one that run the show for the world. And I'm telling you, the question of the day is, where is the trade in this world organized? Is the World Trade Organization never got created again after they destroyed 9/11? They have some kind of really, really funny organization that they try to do. But because it's not famous, because they didn't brand it right, it's not doing its job. And the fact that now America and China are calling themselves in competition, and, sometimes I got China here listening when, there is a tense situation. I get them, India, like the same India, the same Russia. They listen when there is something going on. So I'll take advantage of this, that they are listening maybe from far and after, to tell them that competition, it's not about, who run and get the goods before. Competition, it's not, this whole deal of mankind that have to compete for the food on his table is wrong. It's wrong. It's not to be. Because if God created man, he created the full supplies for him too. He wouldn't create a soul. And if somebody else took it away from him, it's their abuse. Now, let's ask ourselves honestly, are we happy as the world, the way the world is running this time? Let's say from Israel's perspective, do we have an incredible economy? Do we have some prosperity? America, for example, all the shelves are empty. I've been in South Carolina, and South Carolina is really, really resourceful, and there are so many tourists coming on, so they have inventory forever. And they said to me, honestly, they cannot keep stuff on the shelf because there is no merchandise. Now, let's talk about merchandising. What keep the merchandise away? If there are sanctions with China or merchandise that used to come from China, they need to find an alternative. Or maybe they need to start reducing the humongous of the supply that they're used to in America. You don't have to have 20,000 brands of one brand of shoe. You can have, feature a few for everyone. And those big companies that collect all together to produce so much wealth, they unite forces with so many people and group that they made the small people, they're rigged. They don't have anything. They lose everything, and they cannot compete, and so they go broke. And to be a laborer this day is like beneath poverty, because you cannot keep on with the price and inflation. And everybody that talks on inflation in America, they know that the price, they cannot break even. So if you have people who work for you and they don't finish the month with, at least a reasonable, we're not talking lavish lifestyle, pay the rent, food on the table, utilities, and, and get some extra for needs. If you don't have this economy or this democracy or whatever system of government that everybody calls that is a good one, I think it needs to be reversed. And it's funny that, The union, for example, got on the budgets in America, and they are entitled now to have some kind of support from the government. The union that used to be rich before, they are not so rich anymore. Just give you the state of affair that if they need to start begging for grants from the American government, it means that not is so goody, good and shiny. It's because the old folks in, the courts that give millions away to one company or another, the lawyers that make so much about, when they take away companies and dismantle others, it's enough. We see you through. We see this happening. And Wall Street, I know that they had a slump yesterday, and also I heard that Facebook lost billions of dollars in the last week, which tell me why he needed to get so rich. Not because not a good thing. It's not because the service it does to the world as group. It's actually disservice. It wasn't good enough. And there is some people, for example, I don't want to get a birthday date to my friend that just deceased. At least get some people to say close that page, or disease, or people that left. There is so much loopholes in his mechanism that after a while it's going to shrink. And you can have a party in the beginning, but in the end, if you don't deliver goods to the people, if he doesn't transfer it, and it should be transferred from, social work to social working, it's not network, it's social working. It means that you can supply it and make it profitable if you let people work. But if you take the profit from them when you ask them to advertise and you take the money, you actually, you lose the purpose of the whole thing. Social media are good, but they're getting boring because it's the same thing, and people get bored from the same thing all over again, especially when it's daily. So, and Twitter is still, still working, still doing, but, you cannot correct your spelling, which is something that it's annoying. Okay? Especially people that have something with different languages. Okay, let's go to a break and we'll be back after this.
Are you tired of political correctness and the fear that you might offend someone?
I'm not afraid to offend you.
Wow, look who's talking tough.
One has to be tough to keep sane today.
Hi, I'm Alan Skorsky.
And I'm Bela Seabrow.
And join us every Wednesday for The Definitive Wrap as we interview the most sought-after guests and expose progressive trends that masquerade as enlightenment but actually destroy our freedoms.
We are the No Woke Zone, so buckle up to this exciting show.
Buckling up, but I'm driving.
Sure, you can drive, but I'm the navigator.
Tune in for the No Nonsense, The Definitive Wrap Show, every Wednesday on Israel News Talk Radio.
And we are back. It's Orly Benny Davis, and this is From Jerusalem with Love. Okay, so we saw that Prime Minister Bennett went and spoke to the Jewish fraction in America, in New York, which is a friendly place, and of course there is nothing like New York. and they probably receive him very well. I know that there is some miscommunication sometimes with the other fraction because they think, I don't know, sometimes they patronize the Israeli because Israeli are different, but which is really, really cruel, because if they knew how hard it is to live in Israel, I've been back for a few years. I've been through, since I communicate in the radio, it's been 7 years straight that I've been communicating every week here, eyes on the ground, talking to you and telling you what's the situation going on. Did you see, how many war I had to go through? I had to go through several, and every time it's becoming worse. And the last moment when they, the budget committee decided to cut off the Iron Dome supplement of $1 billion, everybody were like gasping and said, they want us to die? Why they don't want us to have missile? And when you listen to the prayer of the Palestinian in the territories and over in Gaza, I heard them say, God, Allah, they call Allah God, and they say, God destroyed the Sukkot. It's like, why our Sukkah is the holiday when we have the tabernacles, when we sit under, it's a kind of a very nice, cozy place where we built outside 4 walls and a ceiling made from leaves that you can see the stars. And the Palestinian lady wanted God to destroy it. Why this significant for them? You see, they understand that our religion is like is a bond with God, and every time they want to destroy one of our signature, it drive us all crazy. But let's leave them aside. The Palestinian issue that Bennett did not speak, it's not an issue, because if the prime minister or the chairman of the Palestinian Committee, Abbas, doesn't want to meet and talk, what should we talk about? If you don't want to make peace, there shall not be any peace, right? You don't want to talk. Now, he mentioned Hamas, Bennett, and Bennett mentioned Hamas, but he didn't deliver. You see, the punchline. How many times you have to teach those leaders that you need to give the sense of what he's saying? You say Hamas, and you think they know what you're talking about. But the truth of the matter, Hamas is a representation of what happened in Afghanistan. Taliban took over. This is a terrorist organization. You see Taliban in Afghanistan, now see Gaza. What happened with Hamas? You thinking they're Palestinian? No, they're run by terrorist organization. And then you ask, go back, Afghanistan. Why the Afghanistan didn't fight for themselves? Because they didn't want to fight. Okay, so that's what President Biden said. If you actually gave them 20 years of your resources, your men and your blood on the grounds, come on, boots on the ground for 20 years, and they didn't come up to be something else, and everybody talking about the girls, give me a break. If you didn't teach them to go to the army or to defend themselves, leave us alone with this, because if they cannot defend themselves from the men that actually coming now and Taliban and hang people in the street, what purpose did you do? Oh, let's inspire those women. Sometimes those goody two-shoes in California or, democratic country really drive us crazy because they don't deliver. 20 years of nothing. Yesterday there was the grilling of this, of a very, very sad story. The Defense Secretary Austin admit in Senate testimony, Afghan army collapse took all of us by surprise. This was CNBC headline. I saw the grilling. they grill Austin like he was smart. He didn't speak much. He didn't, they asked him if he gave a letter of resignation. He did not. He did not. But the grilling was on really on Mark Milley in general, the the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, General Mark Milley. This guy got grilled, and they called upon him to submit his resignation, because he needs to resign. He was giving interview to so many outlets and books that was written against the Trump administration. And people say you're busy by being published, passing your voice instead of concentrating on the job. Now, the truth of the matter, there was also another Command General Kenneth McKenzie, which he delivered, he said, and he was really truthful. I liked him, okay? I liked him. With Milley, the blame was that he politicized the military, something that never happened before, and the Senate representative was very strong on him to resign. Somebody will go home soon. I don't know who, but President Biden can take the blame, but he cannot. He can take the blame that the advice that they gave him was wrong, even though they say it took them by surprise. You see the map. You see the map on the on the screen, and the whole map just say, they're coming. They're a disputed area, but the Taliban is closing up. And where are all the forces that were here? They got English there. You had other forces, and, what happened to them? How come we didn't have a communication between them? It's like everybody take a corner. We are in a different land, but you have to understand that we need a togetherness of purpose. The purpose of Corona to get vaccinated people that needs to, all over that wants to. Please understand that the one that don't want to needs a different approach, and they need the time to understand that people die. And God help us, because really God help us. We don't want more people dead. No, we love all those people that in our life. We want them to be well, okay? So, but the fact of the matter is, the fact that we left, America left Afghanistan, it was imminent. She should have. And there was no communication. There was no purpose. They didn't learn anything. They want, it's like Israel was in Lebanon for 20 years. We didn't expect them to become anything else, but, Hezbollah is there, still a terrorist organization that's running the show there. And they bomb and they put everything, they don't care. And they even ship, and they warn us, because the Iranian ships are coming. Now, the Iranian deal needs to be on the table of the world, because Benjamin Netanyahu used to say it's 1939. It's not, guys. Benjamin Netanyahu was wrong. And he was talking in the wrong sense because he didn't deliver. He didn't deliver because Iran has the power right now to have a nuclear weapon. We need just to make a deal to understand that we're all together in this. And Russia needs to give the American the proposition to be on site in Afghanistan as they requested, and get the sanction lifted so we can start talking like we talked in the Second World War. They talked with Russia and America helped Russia, and everybody were working together to benefit the world. Everybody wanted to destroy the bad thing that happened in the Second World War, okay? And we won because we were united. So united, we can win. Now, united, America needs to unite their, generals. I know somebody will go home, but you have to understand, It's for the well-being of the world, and we need to be between the country, Australia, Canada, America, and China needs to understand that you cannot feed the snake that want to eat the world. You trade and all, I understand, but killing is bad, and we don't want to risk. And Israel is in a position to defend herself. You all know that. But we don't want to do it because it's not our problem only. This is the world problem. We understand the risk because we've been through one, our generation before, been through one. But we want you all to understand that we need to come together and make sure that the risk is not taken again and fast. Not like Churchill had to beg for American help. Not like it happened for years. We need to do it now. So I hope you be well. I hope you the best. God bless you all. We'll talk next week. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.
If you love Israel News Talk Radio, then you'll love our Facebook page. We keep you up to date on what's happening in Israel, plus little surprise treasures that we don't share on the radio. Go now to follow us on Facebook. Just look for the Israel News Talk Radio Facebook page, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us by clicking on the like button. We post great stuff there that you'll want to share. Israel News Talk Radio on Facebook and Israel News Radio on Twitter.
If you're hearing this message, everyone else can too. Advertise with Israel News Talk Radio and get your message out to people. We'll build a personalized package for you. Contact advertising at israelnewstalkradio.com.
Straight talk from Israel. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Hey, this is Jake in Anchorage, Alaska, and I love listening to all the super interesting interviews and up-to-date information on what's happening in Israel.
Hello, this is Anna King, originally from London, now living in Israel. And what can I say? Israel News Talk Radio is my cup of tea.
My name is Bhaskar. I'm from India, and I love listening because you get to know the truth and wonderful voices from this lovely country.
Mom!
Okay, wait a minute. Hi, this is Chava Dax, and I'm calling for the rolling hills of Malaya Dumim, just north of Jerusalem. I always listen to Israel News Talk Radio to get all the latest news and commentary and to keep me up to date every day.
This is Sarah Dax from Malaya Dumim, and I'm 12. I wish Israel News Talk Radio was boring so my mom wouldn't listen to it all the time. Mom!
You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
News, opinion, and more. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.